That's what I want to do. All right. All right. So now as you look at these tables, we're trying to figure out which one is not linear. So only 2 of these came from a linear process. All right. So think about that for a second. Only 2 of these came from a linear process. One of them is not linear. Okay. So let me go ahead and call on a random person. Okay, let's see. Jared, what do you think here? Can you pick at least one that came from a linear process, Jared? Well, just saying, guys, you know, if I call on you and you don't respond, and I'm wondering if what's going on. And then you tell me, okay, I appreciate that, Jared, no problem. All right, that's understandable. All right, so Sarah, can you pick one that has a linear process? Okay, so C. All right, well, let's look at C. All right. Now, if it has a linear process, then we should be going up by the same amount on X, up by the same amount on Y. Now, when I say up, it could be plus or minus. All right, so let's see. It looks like as we go to the right, +3, and then -6. Okay, so let's write that down. +3, -6. Okay, now let's do the next. Okay, it looks like now we did +2, but -4. Okay, so +2, -4. All right. And now we're doing +3, -6. All right, and then the last one, it looks like we went +1, -2. And as you look at this, that looks like that is legit. Okay, because each of these, if you simplified them the way I wrote them here, it'd all be half of the bottom, and they're all negative. Okay, so that's a linear process. Okay, who thinks they can pick the other one? So who thinks they can pick the other one? Anyone want to volunteer?
I think it might be A.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so someone thinks it's A. Let's go ahead and check. Doing the same thing. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and write these down. And again, after this, we'll take a break. So not too much longer. Okay, now the way these tables are, usually the X domain is on the top and the Y range is on the bottom. That's just the way it tends to be. So I'm just pointing that out and mention the reason. So let's see. Okay, it looks like we went +2, +2, +2, and then +1. All right. Well, down here, it looks like we're going +4, +4, +4, and +2. Okay, that looks pretty much similar to this. The top is half as much as what you're doing down here. Now, when we write this as a ratio, we always write this as rise over run. And the rise goes with the Y and the run goes with the X. So if you actually wanted to write the linear process's slope correctly, you would actually have to write it as what you did on the bottom to the Y's over what you did on top to the X's. Now, I know that's a little weird, but that's because of the meaning of the rise over the run, which refers to the y's over the x's. But when we make tables, we tend to do the y on the bottom row and the x on the top row. And so that's just one of the things that is tricky about math, because you want to react. You want to go, oh, that over that, because that's what you see. And anybody can do it. I can do it. I've done it sometimes and embarrassed myself. You know, I know better, but it's just so easy to react. All right, so correct, that was a linear process. I think now is a good time for us to take a 5-minute break. And when we come back, we're going to look at something called the slope formula, okay? So 5-minute break starting, let me get my thing set up here, starting right now. Okay, so looking at that last table again, we could just kind of see, but the table A here, how those numbers got produced by kind of seeing how we went from left to right. Looks like we added 2 to get the numbers starting with 1 going to the right, and then right here we added 1 to go from 7 to 8. Whereas down here on the bottom, looks like we added 4 starting with the 2 as we're going to the right, and then here we added, when I say 2, I mean 4. And then here we added 2 when we went from 14 to 16. So if we did that as a ratio, the rise over the run, which would be the y's over the x's, we would write this as 4 over 2, and then right here we'd write this as 2 over 1. Okay, that's called the slope. Now here we have some intuition. We know how to add 2 and add 4. Right? We know how to add 1 and add 2. That's really intuitive. But if we wanted to make this into a formula, if you went 3 minus 1, and 6 minus 2, that would work. So right here, we could have just did this as 6 minus 2. That would be the rise, over 3 minus 1. That would be the run. Again, these are the y's. And those are the x's.